Your life if you became famous. The reign starts in 2007. Not dramatic reign, not movie reign, cheap city reign. The kind that turns parking lots into mirrors and makes streetlights look expensive. You are 14 years old, sitting in the back of your mother's silver Opel Astra outside a shopping mall in Manchester, watching people walk past with shopping bags bigger than your future. Your mother smokes with the window cracked open. The heater barely works, and for the first time in your life, you notice something dangerous. People look at famous people differently. Not richer people, not smarter people. Famous people. A football player walks through the mall entrance surrounded by security guards, and suddenly the entire building changes shape around him. People smile differently, stand differently, talk differently. Even grown men become nervous around him, and you realize something terrifying. Attention is power. Not money, not intelligence. Attention. That thought follows you home like a disease, because your house is small. Your father barely speaks. Your school smells like wet uniforms and cafeteria grease. But online, nobody knows that. Online, you can become someone else. So at 14, while everyone else is playing video games and getting drunk in parks, you start uploading videos from a broken Logitech webcam in your bedroom. Terrible videos. Awkward videos. Videos with 12 views, 9 views, 3 views. You talk too fast, you blink too much, your room looks depressing. But every morning before school, you refresh the analytics page like a gambler checking horse races. 1 subscriber, then 3, then 7. And when one video suddenly hits 4,000 views in the middle of the night, you don't sleep. You stare at the screen until sunrise. Because somewhere out there, strangers are watching you instead of living their own lives. And that feeling becomes the first addiction. By 2011, you know exactly how the internet works. Not technically, psychologically. You learn that people don't click on truth. They click on emotion, fear, status, beauty, anger, fantasy. You learn how to pause before important sentences, how to fake confidence, how to speak like you already matter. At 16, you bleach your teeth using strips you bought from Tesco with birthday money. You save for better lighting. You study famous YouTubers like priests study scripture. Not because you admire them, because you're dissecting them. You notice they all start becoming caricatures of themselves. Louder, sharper, more extreme. The audience rewards predictability. The algorithm rewards obsession. And slowly, your real personality begins dissolving into content. At school, teachers call you distracted. Your father calls you lazy. Your classmates laugh at your videos behind your back. But one Friday afternoon, a stranger recognizes you at a train station. You're that guy from YouTube, right? The sentence changes your nervous system forever, because suddenly, your life is no longer local. You can feel scale approaching. In 2013, your channel explodes. Not overnight, over 6 violent months. A reaction clip goes viral, then another, then compilations, then podcasts, then collaborations. Your subscriber count starts moving faster than your brain can process. 50,000, 200,000, 900,000. You move into a tiny apartment in London with 2 other creators who survive entirely on caffeine, Uber Eats, and insecurity. The apartment smells like ring lights overheating. Nobody sleeps before 3 a.m. Every conversation is about views. How long was retention? What thumbnail converted better? What title did you use? How much did the sponsor pay? You are 20 years old and already living inside a machine built from attention. But externally, your life looks incredible. You buy Balenciaga sneakers you cannot afford. You start wearing oversized black hoodies and vintage watches because fame has its own uniform. Clubs let you skip lines. Girls who would have ignored you 2 years earlier suddenly laugh too hard at your jokes. A manager from Los Angeles starts calling you a brand. That word unsettles you because brands aren't people, brands are products. But you ignore the feeling because your bank account just crossed 100,000 pounds. And your mother cried when you paid off her debts. That moment becomes the moral permission slip for everything that comes after. By 2015, Fame stops feeling exciting. It starts feeling necessary. You wake up and check your phone before your eyes fully open. Twitter mentions, Instagram engagement, YouTube analytics, trending topics. Your mood becomes controlled by graphs. If views rise, you feel invincible. If views drop, you become paranoid. You stop seeing audiences as people. They become numbers, traffic, and velocity. At restaurants, you choose tables based on lighting. At parties, you mentally categorize everyone by usefulness. Every interaction quietly transforms into networking. And the terrifying part is, it works. Your audience grows faster when you become more controversial. So you become sharper, more opinionated, more ruthless. Clips spread everywhere. TikTok has edits, memes, reaction channels, fan pages. Teenagers start dressing like you. You overhear strangers repeating your phrases in public. And for a while, this feels like immortality, until one night in Los Angeles. You're 23, sitting in the backseat of a black Escalade on Sunset Boulevard while your manager screams into two phones at once. Outside the window, homeless tents line streets beneath giant billboards advertising luxury watches. The city looks like success and collapse happening simultaneously. You arrive at a mansion party in the Hollywood Hills. There are NBA players, rappers, actors, influencers. Everyone is beautiful. Everyone is dead inside. The conversations feel strangely hollow. Nobody asks who you are. They ask, how many followers? Well, what's your engagement? What's your monthly reach? You realize fame has its own caste system. Even millionaires feel insecure around bigger celebrities. At 2:14 a.m., you stand alone on a balcony overlooking Los Angeles while helicopters blink over the city. And for the first time, you understand something nobody tells you about fame. Once millions of people know you, you stop belonging to yourself. Every mistake becomes public property. Every relationship becomes content. Every emotion becomes marketable. You stare at your reflection in the glass door and barely recognize the person staring back. But the next morning, you post anyway, because the machine must continue. In 2017, you become truly famous. Not internet famous, actual famous. The kind where airports become dangerous. TMZ starts following you. Brands pay 7 figures for endorsements. You buy a penthouse in Miami with floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking Biscayne Bay. You own 3 watches worth more than your childhood home. A white Ferrari 488, a black Range Rover autobiography, a driver named Luis who never makes eye contact. Your mornings become algorithmic perfection. Cold plunge, espresso, trainer at 6 a.m. podcast, recording at 9, meeting at Soho House, dinner at Carbone. From the outside, your life resembles modern royalty, but privately, you are becoming impossible to love because fame changes your relationship with reality. Nobody tells you the truth anymore. Friends become employees. Employees become fans. Fans become stalkers. You start suspecting everyone of wanting something. And usually, you're right. Women screenshot your conversations. Friends leak stories to tabloids. Business partners secretly record meetings, so you build walls, security guards, NDAs, private entrances, separate phones. You begin living like a politician hiding from an invisible war. And eventually, isolation mutates into ego. You stop entering rooms. You expect rooms to prepare for your arrival. Then comes the interview, the one that changes everything. New York City, a live podcast watched by 12 million people. You're exhausted, overconfident, running on stimulants, and 3 hours of sleep. Halfway through the interview, the host asks, "Do you think fame changed you?" You laugh. Then say something cold, something arrogant, something clipped into 15-second videos. Within hours, the internet turns. Hashtags trend. Commentary channels multiply. Old clips resurface. Former friends suddenly become moral philosophers online. Brands pause campaigns. Your PR team tells you not to post anything. So naturally, you post anyway. Because famous people eventually confuse attention with survival. And outrage is still attention. For 3 weeks, your name becomes unavoidable. Everywhere. TikTok, Twitter, news articles, Reaction videos. Millions of strangers discuss your personality like forensic investigators studying a serial killer. You stop sleeping. You refresh mentions until sunrise. And then you discover the final stage of fame, paranoia. You begin hearing criticism even in silence. Every waiter recognizes you. Every stranger might be recording. Every laugh in public feels directed at you. You rent entire restaurant floors to avoid cameras. You stop trusting mirrors because your face online looks more real than your actual face. Then your mother dies. Quietly. And no headlines, no dramatic scene. Just a hospital room in Manchester that smells like antiseptic and old flowers. You arrive wearing sunglasses and a black hoodie because even grief requires disguise now. She looks smaller than you remember. Fragile. Human. For the first time in years, nobody in the room cares that you're famous. The doctors don't care. The machines don't care. Death doesn't care. And standing there beside the hospital bed, you suddenly realize something horrifying. You spent your entire life becoming recognizable to strangers, while slowly becoming unrecognizable to yourself. After the funeral, you stay alone in her empty house for 3 nights. No assistants, no cameras, no managers, just silence. You open old kitchen drawers and find printed screenshots of your first YouTube videos. Your mother kept them, even the embarrassing ones, especially the embarrassing ones. And suddenly, you remember the boy in the Opel Astra parking lot, the one who thought fame would make him feel important. You realize he disappeared years ago, not suddenly, gradually, one sponsorship at a time, one viral clip at a time, one compromise at a time. But fame doesn't let people leave easily. By 2022, your career partially recovers, not fully, never fully, but enough. Enough for interviews, enough for relevance, enough for millions. You launch a new podcast. This version of you is calmer, more philosophical, more controlled. People call it maturity. Really, it's exhaustion. Your face changes, the jaw sharper, eyes more tired, smile more rehearsed. You start wearing neutral colors because flashy clothing now feels childish. You buy a massive house in the hills above Malibu, infinity pool, glass walls, private gym, olive trees, imported from Italy. At night, the house sounds like air conditioning and distant ocean wind. You walk through empty rooms, holding a whiskey glass worth more than your father earned in a week. And despite everything you own, you begin feeling poor in a way nobody can see. Because fame destroys your ability to experience normal life naturally. You cannot enter a cafe anonymously, cannot fall in love normally, cannot fail privately, cannot disappear. Even your apologies become content. At some point, success stopped feeling like freedom and started feeling like surveillance. Then comes the final transformation. You stop chasing admiration. You start chasing irrelevance. You secretly envy ordinary people. Couples arguing in grocery stores. Construction workers eating lunch together. Teenagers laughing on night trains. People whose lives still belong entirely to them. One winter evening in Tokyo, you walk alone through Shinjuku wearing a mask and baseball cap. Nobody recognizes you. For 3 hours, you become invisible again, and it feels better than fame ever did. You eat ramen in a tiny restaurant beneath flickering neon signs while snow melts against the window. No cameras, no expectations, no performance, just existence. The cook asks where you're from. You almost answer with your online persona. Instead, you give your real name, the one nobody says anymore, and hearing it out loud feels strangely emotional, like opening a locked room in your own mind. Years later, people still remember you. Compilation videos, old interviews, internet documentaries. New creators study your rise and collapse the same way you once studied others. Some call you a genius. Some call you a cautionary tale. Most don't understand you at all. But occasionally, late at night, teenagers still discover your old videos in dark bedrooms somewhere in the world. And just like you once did, they mistake attention for love. Because fame is one of the few addictions that convinces the world to reward you while it destroys you. That's the trick. Drugs look dangerous. Power looks dangerous. Fame looks beautiful. Until your entire personality becomes public property, until silence starts feeling unnatural, until every human interaction becomes performance, until you can no longer tell whether people see you or the character you created to survive them. And in the end, after all the money, all the interviews, all the penthouses, all the applause, and the thing that haunts you most is realizing the happiest moment of your life happened before anyone knew your name. A rainy parking lot, a cheap car, a boy staring through fogged-up windows, watching someone else be famous.